What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV back here for the last preview stream before the World Cup. We face Leeds at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, 3 p.m. kickoff tomorrow. And you know what? If Spurs got tired legs, this is not the game we want to be coming up against a very energetic Leeds side who are coming into a bit of form at the moment. I mean, how do you assess Leeds at the moment?
Yeah, maybe playing them at the wrong time. I think they were quite unlucky early in the season. They went for a really bad run through a lot of the season. They started the season fairly well, you know, beating the likes of Chelsea 3-0 at home early doors in the season. They went actually the first 3 games of the season unbeaten, and they were looking quite good. They spent a lot of money in the summer. A lot of people were excited about Leeds. But then they went on a horrendous run. Actually, it was just after they beat Chelsea. They went on a terrible run. I think they lost about 5 in a row or 6 in a row after they beat Chelsea 3-0, and that put obviously Jesse Marsch under a lot of pressure. A lot of people thought he might even be going, considering the results they were getting, and considering how much money they had spent. They stuck with him. I think the turning point, in a way, was that defeat to Arsenal, where everyone could see how well they were playing, even though they lost at home. And that was kind of like a point to show how that this team is playing in the right way, but they're just not getting the results. And then form did start to turn after that. A bit. I mean, they did lose the next 2, but they then went and won at Anfield 2-1, and now they've won the last game against Bournemouth 4-3 after being 3-1 down with half an hour to go as well. They were 3-1. They scored the 3rd goal in the second half, Bournemouth. So they're a team in the right direction. As you say, they're energetic, they're young, they're fresh, they have good forward players. Harrison's a good player. Rodrigo's come into form this season after, you know, struggling quite a bit to settle into the Premier League. Sinistera is not going to be playing this weekend, but he's also been quite a decent player for them this year. But their defence is shoddy, I mean, to say the least. They definitely, their back line definitely can be got at and definitely can be exposed, and is a bit brittle. So for sure, if we attack them, there'll be chances for us. But the problem is with their attacking players and how we've invited pressure a lot this season. They're the type of team that can just get 2 quick goals out of nothing, and you could be out of sight. But hopefully it doesn't come to that. But with the way they play, you got to be a bit worried with their energy. But if we can kind of contain them 100%, there'll be chances for us.
Yeah, and I'm very worried about being able to contain them, to be honest, because of the way we have been playing recently, the way how tired the team look at the moment, the way we played at Nottingham Forest showed that as well. And it's going to be an extremely difficult game. I can't get away from it, and I'm struggling to think that we're going to get 3 points this weekend. However depressing that sounds, Leeds coming to Tottenham, and I'm thinking that we're not going to get all 3 points. But when you're looking at Leeds' form coming into it, if you bring up the form. Yeah, exactly. That if you bring up the form, they've scored 8 goals in their last 5 games, but they've conceded 10 goals in their last 5 games, which we've conceded less than them, but we've also scored less than them in the last 5 games. In the Spurs' home form, you know, it's taken a bit of a battering in recent times. We've lost our last 2 home games. Before that, we were, you know, going really well at home, winning every single game.
If you include the Sporting game as well, it's not no winning 3.
Yeah, that's true. So that's 2 losses and a draw in the home games. Their away form, though, ain't the greatest as well. 4 losses and 1 win in their last 5 away games.
That's 4 in a row. Oh, no, they won their last away game.
Yeah, so do you think that with Spurs trying to get back on track at home and their, you know, frail away record, that's something that will fall into our favour?
I think so, and I think even Leeds in their great win at Anfield, they obviously won 2-1. It was a great performance and a great win, but Meslier for me was their best player. So even in that brilliant win, they still conceded a lot of chances, and they were still very much open at the back. And they did end up holding strong and getting the win, but it's not like they were. It was one of those performances where, you know, they didn't concede any chances. So I still think that we have the upper hand. I still think that, I know we're not playing great at the moment, but I still think we should be winning this game, even how Leeds are playing. I actually think they could play into our hands a bit, even though they're showing a lot of energy. If we can play smart, I'm not sure, obviously it depends on who's fit, obviously a lot depends on which of our forward players are fully fit and going to be available and are fresh as well going into this one. But if we do have, which might be true, Kulusevski ready to start, who's played the last 2 games, Kane, hopefully, he obviously went off after an hour, and maybe one of Richarlison or Lucas in the forward line, I think we should have enough there to really hurt Leeds going the other way. And then hopefully with set pieces as well, they're not great from set pieces, Leeds, and we're very good at them. That's definitely an avenue we can hurt them. And Meslier, for all his good things, he can be very susceptible at the moment, for claiming crosses and coming for things from set pieces. He's not the strongest goalkeeper, so I think that we have definitely lots of avenues to attack them, and if we can, especially early on, they're gonna. If we're like only a goal down or we're level at half time, I reckon they might burn out a bit, Leeds, and then hopefully we can take advantage.
It's going to be an interesting matchup because obviously Harry Kane on Wednesday night was so tired, had to be taken off half an hour to go, and he barely had a kick of the ball when he was on the pitch. Conte did allude to that they made the decision that morning, and he's suffering from fatigue with a lot of the other players like Højbjerg and Bentancur. And if Kane isn't completely up to it this weekend because of fatigue, would you stick Richarlison in the number 9, or would you still persist with Harry Kane?
If Richarlison's up for it, yes. But we took him off after an hour, so I'm assuming, that he should be okay to play this weekend. I'm assuming that we took him off with a view of him starting this weekend, for sure. So I would hope that he should be available. But if not, Richarlison is a good striker. And he came on and looked decent, to be fair, when he came on against Forest. He obviously wasn't at his sharpest, but I thought he looked all right. He was probably our sharpest attacker for the last 20 minutes. So I wouldn't have any problem putting him in if he's ready to start a game. And even if it means having him for an hour and then putting Kane on for the last half an hour as well, and vice versa, starting Kane for an hour and then bring on Richarlison, it should be okay.
I just really hope if Kane is still suffering from that fatigue that they don't play him, because he just didn't contribute anything on Wednesday night, and we've got players to play in his place if he is suffering from fatigue, and it's our own doing because we've played him every single game, every single minute, well, pretty much every single minute of every game, and he shouldn't have played on Wednesday night for a view of this game. Never mind taking him off for half an hour to go. He should never have started the game. Maybe she should have come on for the last 20 minutes or something to get us that goal, but he should never have started that game and played an hour, and hopefully we don't suffer the consequences this weekend for that. But I completely agree with what you're saying in terms of if Richarlison and Kulu are completely fit and they start the game, that's definitely big tools in our armoury. Because if they're not, then who's our front line going to be?
Doesn't want to play Gil. Is he going to have to play Perisic again? Well, it depends, because if Sessegnon's injured, which is probably a high chance of that he won't be available. I don't know, who do we play left wing back? Do we move Doherty to the left? Do we have to play Emerson on the right and all these different things? That's not a great situation you want to... I know Doherty did all right on the left last season at times, but it's not a situation that you want to play in. Perisic has done a decent job up front, but he looks so much better on the left wing back. Even in that game against Liverpool, he looked so much better in that position than he did up front. So it would be a massive... It would be a big blow if neither Richarlison or Kulusevski are available to start the game. I'm hoping Kulusevski will, because he's come on the last 2 games now, played 20 minutes and half an hour. So I'm hoping that he will be available to start this weekend.
Yeah, that's what we're all hoping for. In terms of Leeds, though, they got a whole rest this week pretty much. Only played 1 or 2 regulars in the Carabao Cup, where we pretty much played our strongest team, and it's just... I just can't get away from the fact that haven't rotated players in this busy period where everyone else has seemed to have done it, and we're the ones.
At least Bentancur only had 45 minutes each.
Yeah, it's true, but those particular players, apart from that, have played pretty much every minute in this busy period. So that's why they're suffering from fatigue. When we've got players like Bissouma and Skip who could have come in and played that role. So I don't get why we haven't been rotating players, especially in the central midfield areas.
Well, when we've played a 3 a lot of the time, we've rotated a bit, not massively, but obviously Højbjerg and Bentancur pretty much always been there. And when we play a 3, it's either Bissouma's there or Skip. Well, Skip started against Newcastle, didn't he? Who didn't play? Was it Bentancur? Or was it Højbjerg? I can't remember. One of them didn't play against Newcastle.
I think it was Højbjerg, wasn't it?
Yeah, he didn't play. against New. He was out the squad completely due to fatigue. So I think Skip and Basuma have played quite a bit, but the thing is with Højbjerg and Bentancur, I kind of feel for Conte because they've been playing so well this season. Like, they're playing such a high level, and the other players haven't been able to reach that level, and it does seem to hurt us when one of them's not playing. That's reality. We've seen that. Whenever one of them isn't playing, like, it hurts us. We're not as good. So I kind of understand from Conte's point of view. He's like, he tries it and then it doesn't work, and then he gets criticised when he's playing them too much. But then he doesn't, and it hurts us. So it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing for Conte at the moment, and that's why we first of all it needs a bit more time, but we need a bit more quality as well. And I kind of feel for him from that, but that goes to show that where our squad's at the moment. And hopefully, look, I think Basuma's coming on, and I think he's improving. Skip, is there a conversation yet to be had about Ollie Skip? Because I just don't think his performances have been that great.
No, I don't think there is. I don't think he's played too many games or too many minutes. He's had 2 starts since he's come back from injury. It's nowhere near of enough of a sample size to really look at or criticise or praise or whatever.
I saw some people on Twitter, obviously it's Twitter, so can't take it too seriously, but I saw a fan on Twitter post a tweet saying that Skip is now in the same category as Winks, Carroll, and Bentaleb and Mason.
Favour. Oh my days.
We have another dud on our hands.
Yeah, right. Because he started 2 games, one at Newcastle, where actually he played quite well, and the other game was Nottingham Forest. Yeah, albeit he wasn't great, but no one in that team was great. So he started 2 games. So I think that it's a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to start talking about him like that.
I agree. What I would say is the role I see him playing in the moment, I just don't know. Maybe in the future he'll be more suited to it, but right now, I don't see it getting the best out of him. I think, obviously
but it was getting the best out of him.
I don't think that's where his best performances have come from in a Tottenham shirt or a Norwich shirt.
When he was playing for us, playing week in, week out, alongside Højbjerg was actually the one kind of protecting that back four, and he was the one being asked to go forward.
They played in a double pivot. They played in a double pivot, not in a 3. And when he played in the 3, he had a couple of good games there. To be fair, I remember we played Leicester away. He played that role and he played it really well. But I don't think that's where we've seen the best of him. I think we've seen the best of him when he's a bit more in the central areas, when he's knitting the play together, when he's in the doing a lot of good defensive work as well. I think he's a brilliant tackler, a really good reader of the game. I feel like recently in this midfield free role, where he's clearly given a lot of freedom to attack the right hand side and get forward. I just don't think I'm seeing the best of him right now. I don't think it's showing off his best qualities. He's asked to be doing a lot of offensive attacking actions, and at the moment, I don't know if it's a quality issue or it's just he's not used to it, but he's not really doing much when he gets the ball. He's doing well to get in the areas, and he's getting in good spaces, which I think is because he's a good reader of the game. He's always good at finding those kind of spaces. But when he does get into positions to lay off an assist or get a shot on goal or knit the play or do something, he hasn't really shown off what he's able to do in that position.
He needs a rhythm of games, right? You're not going to get straight back in it straight away. He needs to have a rhythm of games, get his flow going and find his best role in this team. I mean, he's playing bit parts at the moment. He started 3 games, what was it? Newcastle, Bournemouth and Nottingham Forest. He went off at half-time against Bournemouth. The whole team was shocking in that first half. The whole team was shocking against Nottingham Forest.
He's gone off early in all of them, I think.
And against Newcastle, he went off with 25 minutes to go. And in that Newcastle game, I thought he played well, to be fair.
I thought it was okay. Well was a bit of a stretch. I thought it was okay. But no, I agree. I don't think I'm writing him off or anything, but I just don't think we've seen those performances just yet. And I do think maybe if he was in the Basuma role, maybe that'd be better. But I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm thinking what would bring the best out of him. Or is it just time? Maybe it's just a bit more time in that getting used to that role. Maybe then we'll see a better Ollie Skip. But at the moment, he hasn't been great, I don't think.
I do remember, though, like when he was up against Højbjerg in that double pivot, he was doing some really good defensive work, but he was also doing some really good work going forward, and he was pushing the team forward and driving us forward at times, and he was our best player for a certain amount of time. So the guy needs time. The guy needs consistent games, and we'll see the old Ollie Skip back. I'm certain of it.
Conte said in his press conference after the Forest game, he said he understands it's like a difficult period right now, results-wise, performance-wise, everyone's tired. But he says if we can have one more big push and get over the line against Leeds on Saturday, and if we do win and end obviously whether we win or not, it looks like we're going to end this period in the top 4 positions. But he says if we can get the win and end off positively. If we end off this period positively, end off this period in the top 4 and through in the Champions League, he said that would be really, really good, he said. Do you agree with that, or do you still think there are a lot more questions and answers right now where we're at?
I think it'll be good in terms of where we're at, in terms of positionally, what it's like going into the latter stages or the second part of the season after the World Cup. You're in the top 4. Albeit it could be just on goal difference we're in the top 4 if we don't win this weekend and a Man United win. But let's say we are in the top 4, last 16 of the Champions League, FA Cup still to come out, the Carabao Cup. But I got a feeling that exit of the Carabao Cup is a bit of a blessing in disguise anyway. I'm not too bothered about... Look, we all wanted a trophy and stuff like that, and it's probably our easiest avenue of a trophy. But if we want to make a serious push for this top 4 and go far in the Champions League and FA Cup, then I'm happy to give away the Carabao Cup for that. And with all the games coming up in January, you're going to have to play the next 3 rounds all in the next month, which is just way too many games once again. So I'm not too bothered about sacrificing that tournament.
It's funny, yeah. World Cup final is scheduled for 20, as you say, 20th of December. Then 24th of December is Man City Liverpool in the Cup.
Exactly. So, I mean, look, I think Conte's right in terms of what he's saying, that it puts us in a good position where we're in top 4, latter stages of the Champions League, FA Cup still to come.
It's likely if we would have got through in the Carabao Cup, we would have had a much weakened team in the next round anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And we would have played, if we went through, we actually would have played Blackburn in the next round, and they would have had, obviously, hardly anyone going to the World Cup. So it would have been a very difficult game. But look, it leaves us in a very good position, but I'm just still very wary of the state of the squad, and we need investment in January. And if we don't get that investment in January, I worry for the second part of the season. I really do, because you're going to have Manchester United, who I feel like are going to come on strong. Potter is going to imprint his ideas more at Chelsea. They're going to come on stronger in the second half of the season. So it's going to be difficult. You've got Newcastle there. You've got obviously Arsenal and Man City there. Liverpool, you never know what they could easily come on strong second half of the season as well. So we need investment in the January transfer window if we're going to make this top 4 this year.
Yeah, and again, there are noises that we're going to make that investment, but whether we do...
And there are noises we're not going to make the investment as well.
There are, who said it, that we're going to go for a defender and a forward and concentrate on quality. I mean, look, actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, but we heard the contrary, didn't we?
We heard the contrary.
We heard that all this stuff in the press about Spurs being backed in the summer is false.
In the summer?
In the January transfer window.
Did we?
Yeah, we did.
I can't remember. Who said that?
In our WhatsApp group.
What, he said that it's not going to happen?
He said that Conte said it's all bullshit, all the rumours you're hearing in the press.
Oh, yeah, he did say that. Well, let's hope he's wrong. That's all I can say. I don't know.
Yeah, let's hope so. But anyway, back onto the game. When you're looking at Spurs against Leeds head-to-head, actually, I don't think Leeds have won at Spurs for an extremely long time. But when you're looking at that, 4 wins out of 5 in our last 5, obviously we haven't played them too much because they only just got back into the Premier League not too long ago. But do you know the date that Leeds last won at Spurs? Do you know the year? Can you tell me?
They last won at Spurs. Was it 2001?
It was indeed 2-1 to Leeds.
2-1 to Leeds. Yeah.
So that's the last
Les
time.
Ferdinand scored.
Yeah, that's correct. So they. That's the last time they won at Spurs. But you can't really take too much into their head-to-head, to be honest, because it hasn't been so long that they've been in the Premier League. But since they've come into the Premier League, we've had fairly strong games against them, haven't we?
Yeah, I think we've won the majority of them. Was it all of them we won?
I think all of them, yeah.
But under Bielsa, obviously, we haven't played a Jesse March team. Oh, no, we didn't. We lost to them. That's right, under Ryan Mason. Mason beat him. We got beaten by Bielsa under Mason.
Did we?
Yeah.
When?
In lockdown. After Mourinho, in that period. They beat us 3-1 at Ellen Road.
Did they?
Yeah.
Oh, at Ellen Road. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Ellen Road. Yeah, they beat us. Well, yeah, all the home games we've won. So I think usually...
Oh, that was that crazy game with Bamford and the refereeing decisions and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That wasn't a great day. I think because Leeds, it's an interesting one because Leeds usually play with a lot of confidence and they usually they come and attack you because we've got the superior players. We usually get the upper hand because we like that. We like teams who are inferior to us, like quality-wise, to come and attack us.
We like worse teams than us to come and play us.
No, to come and attack us.
Yeah.
I mean, no, we don't like them to sit deep and frustrate us. We like them to come and attack us because it means that if we go toe to toe with them, we have the superior quality. That's probably why we end up winning most of the time against Leeds. But it's going to be a very difficult game. They're really high on confidence right now, and they do have a good quality up front. And our defending right now, look, 5 domestic games in a row, we've gone 2-0 down, so that has to stop. That I mean, it's. I think it will just be a relief if we get the first goal this weekend. It's been so long.
When's the last time we scored the first goal against Everton? Was the first time?
We haven't. We've been winning. We haven't been winning in a game since that. Sorry, in the last 8 games, we've been leading. We've only won like in the last minute or something. So we've been leading for something like a total of like in the last 8 games, like 10 minutes or something.
And you can't start like the way we've started games against this Leeds side because they will destroy you. They will punish you. They've got such good attacking talent, energetic attacking talent. And if we switch off for the first half an hour or the first 45 minutes, like we always have, or that we have been doing, it's going to be very difficult this game. Extremely difficult.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. And these teams like Leeds, you can't take them for granted because they definitely have the quality. Like Arsenal in that game, like they pummeled them. I know it was at Ellen Road, so maybe a bit different, but how they didn't win that game.
They couldn't finish their dinner that day.
It was unbelievable the chances they created and the intensity. They suffocated Arsenal. They didn't allow Arsenal to get out, and we can't allow that to happen tomorrow. And I think it's so important we just get that first goal, just to get that weight off our shoulders, I feel, because at the moment, we're in a rut. It's clear we're in a rut in terms of just how we start games and then trying to recover the situation. And to be fair, the only benefit I'm seeing, apart from Wednesday night, is when we do go down, we have reacted well to it, and more often than not, we probably deserve to get back in the game. But you can't keep giving yourself that much to do. It's unacceptable, and we need to start on the front foot. We need to start quickly, and we need to force the issue and have the other team try and get back instead of us always trying to recover the situation.
Yeah,
it's so unlike Conte though as well. Like you don't associate Conte with like Conte sides of always conceding the first goal and trying to get it back.
But have you seen the defence we have, and have you seen the defence that Conte's coached in the past?
Yeah, I know. But even like under Mourinho, like our problem was like always scoring first and trying to hold the lead and dropping too deep and always conceding. Like it's like under Conte, usually our problem since he's come in hasn't been usually going down. Like this is the first time we've encountered these problems so consistently.
Yeah.
So hopefully there's a solution to it. Hopefully it's just like a issue with scheduling and all these kind of things. But I don't know. It's a weird issue right now because it's so unlike Conte to have these kind of issues.
I just ask Conte one thing for the game tomorrow. Just please, please, please do not play Davinson Sanchez. Because if you play Davinson Sanchez with how nervy he is on the ball, Leeds will smell that fear. They will absolutely smell that fear. You have to put Dyer on the right.
I think he will.
You have to put Longley in the middle, and you have to put Davis on the left. That's got to be our back three going into this game.
Yeah, I think he will. And I think as well, Dyer. The good thing about having Dyer on the right is because he's quite good on the ball. When he does get forward, he does have a bit of quality in those situations, crossing wise and getting the ball in the box. The problem is because of his physical attributes, he's just not. He doesn't get there so often. And obviously, when he gets into wide areas, like Nunes in that game, like he was having him on toast, like for pace. And with Leeds' tricky wingers, if Harrison isolates him in one-on-one situations, or Aronson does, you're going to be a bit worried about that. But you do know if Dyer can find a bit of space going forward and he provides a bit of quality, they can definitely be got out of their defence, 100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why I really want to see Jed Spence play this weekend, because he's got that pace, he's got that direct mentality that he can just, run down that line and really ask questions of that Leeds defence.
I saw a tweet, I can't remember who it was from, but they said, after
Jed Spence.
It was basically they said after Jed Spence's cameo on Wednesday, there is now no excuse not to start him.
Yeah, I don't think.
Do you reckon you would go that far?
I wouldn't go that far, because I don't think he was like that good where he's like said to Conte, "Look, I'm here, and you can't not pick me because of the way he played." He wasn't that good. But he showed the ability.
I guess we're just so starving for pace, and
we
see
are,
one run and we're like, have to play.
But that's what it was. He came on within a second. He made that really darting run down the right hand side, and everyone's just, Jed Spence, what a player, because he made one run. But looking at the options between Emerson and Doherty, I think Spence is the way to go against Leeds, because we can get at them in the defence. We can. And Jed Spence is probably the best avenue to do that.
Yeah, 100%.
But let's have a look at the ones to watch that we've picked out for Leeds. We've gone for Rodrigo and Harrison.
Yeah,
Harrison actually hasn't done it too much this season with 1 goal and 3 assists, but he is a very good player. But Rodrigo, especially in the earlier parts of the season with 7 goals, 1 assist, he got that injury and he's come back and scored since the injury as well.
Now.
3 in a row. So, I mean, the guy is he's announced himself as a proper Premier League player now, because he was at Leeds and he wasn't really doing it, but then suddenly something just clicked and he just started banging them in.
Yeah, and I'm not sure what it was. Maybe he's just become more acclimatised to the Premier League. Is this his 3rd season or his 2nd season?
I think it's his third.
Yeah, I think it's his 3rd as well. So maybe he needed a bit of time to just adjust to the Premier League. But he's always been a good finisher. He's always had good pace, but he's always been one of those players where you worry about physically whether he can, when he's playing up front, whether he's going to be physically bullied and stuff like that. And I think that was the case a lot of the time in his early seasons. He was playing a lot out wide. He wasn't really trusted up front. But Jesse March has definitely found the best of him so far in that striker role, getting into pressure from the front, getting him in behind. To be fair, against Liverpool, he was gifted a goal. Joe Gomez squared it to him, and he was just given a tap in. But other than that, he's been some really good finishes in there, and he's really adapted to the Premier League and become that striker they need. But whether he can keep up this form or is it just a purple patch, we'll have to wait and see. But he's definitely having a very good season.
Yeah.
One player I have been really impressed with is Aronson in that number 10 role. He's a real bright spark. I still think he's got a lot of adapting to do physically, Aronson. But I really like his energy. I think he's a really good passer of the ball. I think he presses really intensely, and I really like what he's shown so far. And I don't think he's been unbelievable, but this guy clearly has a lot of potential.
He's got a lot of talent, and I think I'd like to see him add some more goals and assists to his game.
He's still very young. He's a very young American.
I think that's the only thing that's missing at the moment, because he's young, energetic, got a bit of pace about him, got good feet, trickery, and he knows how to beat a man in one-on-one situations. He just needs to add a few goals and assists to his game, and I think he'll be a really good player in the Premier League.
He's a really quality passer. He's really good. He's really good in that. So that's why he plays that number 10 role, even though maybe some of his attributes you'd associate him more of a winger, but he plays in that number 10 role because he's quite good in those tight spaces, and even though he's got good pace, he's quite good on the ball to passing in behind and into space. So he could be a real one who's going to develop really well. I feel like he's definitely an investment for sure for Leeds. And obviously Somerville, we didn't touch on him as well. He's got 3 goals in a row as well, Somerville, the youngster.
Is it 3 now?
3 in a row.
2, yeah, wow. 3 in a row,
yeah,
Somerville.
I believe he scored against Fulham, Bournemouth and Liverpool.
And literally 2 weeks ago, nobody had ever heard of him.
Yeah, but he's got the number 10 shirt. I don't know if he's a signing or if he's come from. I'm pretty sure he's a youngster. But he has the number 10 shirt now. For Leeds, and he's last few weeks it's interesting because he didn't start a game up until a few weeks ago against Leicester. He got his first start, then he didn't start the next game. He came off the bench and scored. He started the next 2 and scored twice, so fair play to him. He's doing really well, and he's definitely he also won a penalty in the first minute against Bournemouth as well, so he's definitely having a really good period at the moment. But if you look at their back line, Like, their backline just lacks pace.
Yeah.
That's the big thing about their backline.
Yeah, it does, and it definitely can be got at. But their first line of defence is so good with their pressing. We're going to need to break that press and beat that press if we're going to get anything from this game. And if we're coming into this game with tired legs, it's going to be very difficult. But with the players that they have out, Dallas, Sinisterra, Gelhardt, Forshaw, and Bamford with his injury problems, and
never ending.
And Gray both being doubts. I mean, that's big pluses for us. I mean, Dallas has been out for a while, hasn't he? But he had really good couple of seasons in the Premier League. And Sinisterra started life to Leeds really well.
Yeah, and he was starting to score goals. He was scoring goals in internationals. He was like really getting into the season. Then he was really unfortunately got a red card and then got injured, and it was all kind of fallen away for him, unfortunately. But he looked like a real find, and when he comes back, he's going to be a brilliant player. I'm happy that he's not playing this one, because I think he would have given us a lot of trouble. Be adding him to like their pacey front line, they got so much energy going forward. The problem is there's a bit of a disconnect. That's why they're conceding so many goals, because I feel like that in a way their defence can't keep up with their attack, because their attack is like full pelt all the way forward, and then their defence is asked to play this high line, and they do, and then they get up to the halfway line, and then they're caught out so often because they're just not they don't have that much pace. They're quite slow,
and that's happened since they've come into the Premier League, really, hasn't it?
Yeah,
pretty much been the same story. Under Bielsa, it was the same as well.
And their wing backs, you look at their full backs. First of all, Strauch is more of is like a centre back playing wing back, and he's not the quickest. Then Christian, the guy on right back as well.
Christensen, yeah.
I think as well. He can play centre back as well, I'm pretty sure, or centre mid. He's playing right back, and he's not the quickest either. But what their defence definitely has is strength. They're definitely a strong back line in terms of physical strength, but just when it comes to pace and on the turn, they can definitely be got at for sure.
All right, well, having said all of that, what prediction are you going for?
3-2.
3-2.
3-2 to Tottenham. I think we have enough quality, especially if the forward players are back available. I think Leeds right now, they're on form. They're playing well. They're full of confidence. They're going to come and try and get a win before the World Cup break. And with the way our defence is playing, I can see us conceding. I'm just hoping that if we can, even if we go 1-0 down, I feel like if we can put that Leeds defence under pressure and play our game, and also set pieces as well, we should have enough quality to get some goals. But I can see a lot of goals in this one.
Yeah, I wish I was as confident as you. I said 1-1 yesterday, but I'm actually going to go 2-2 today. I think it's going to be a draw. I think Leeds are going to come at us, and I'm not sure if our defence is going to be strong enough to stand up to the challenge that Leeds bring us, especially with the tired legs that we have. I'm not sure if Harry Kane is up to it this weekend, because on Wednesday he looked completely knackered. And I'm just hoping we can find a second win from somewhere. And if we can find that second win, I think we can win the game. But I have my reservations about how tired the team are and if we can find that second win. So I'm going to go 2-2, to be honest. I hope I'm wrong, but I'm going to go for 2-2. Sim is going for 3-2 to Tottenham. I want to know your score predictions in the comments section below. And that is our match preview for the game against Leeds. We've got a couple of super chats to get through, and then we'll bring on our first guest. And it's first says from Kuti saying, what do you make out of Spence against Forest? I thought he was good. Chemistry with teammates is a bit off, but I hope Conte gives him a chance against Leeds.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be against him having a run out against Leeds, see what he can do, because I think, especially first of all, it would give him confidence, and maybe it would give him a shot in the armour, and I think he could definitely force Leeds back. But I do think he's going to go Matt Doherty. I think Doherty had a great game against Leeds last year, didn't he? And especially if Kulusevski is back, they link up quite well. So if we play a 3-4-3, I think Doherty will probably get the nod.
All right. And Carl Bruce says, is there a call in today? If so, how do I call in as a member? Well, Carl, if you want to join, the link is in the community section right now. So all you have to do is click that link and you'll come and join the show, and you can come and have your say. Next super chat's from Phil P. Big up, Phil. He says, hashtag free Jed Spence. Big up, Ben and Sim. For a win. Woohoo.
Let's go. Let's get the win.
Absolutely. But anyway, let's go to our guest, Connor, from One Leeds Fan Channel. Connor, how you doing, my friend? I think he's on mute.
I know.
No, you're good. No, it's on our side.
We can hear you now, Connor. We can hear you now. Yeah, how are you, my friend?
All right, lads. Yeah, really good. Yeah, not too bad. It's going to be a good game, hopefully this weekend. I think you're right with both your predictions as well. There's going to be goals, definitely.
Yeah, and how do you assess Leeds so far under Jesse March, and how do you feel you're going so far this season?
Yeah, to be honest, I mean, to be honest, there's a fair few cracks in my opinion. I know we've turned the corner a little bit, but it's just how you guys will play against Leeds. That's going to be the interesting part of it. Because I know Conte might approach the game a little bit differently, but every top six side that's come up against Leeds have tried to play through Leeds, and obviously with our pressing and how incredible it is, it's difficult for teams, even the top teams, to do that. I mean, we were deserved winners against Liverpool. We battered Chelsea. We were the toughest game that Arsenal have had so far this season. That should have been 3 or 4. But against the lowerly ranked teams, we're really struggling because what we do is we press in units, and you bypass that press. You go route one, Big Sam-esque, and Leeds are in trouble. They're very, very vulnerable. And as you boys have just said, quite rightly, the back four is, I wouldn't say atrocious, but it's championship level in my opinion.
Yeah, and Jesse March has come under a lot of pressure this season. Obviously, he's turned it around recently with a couple of wins at the right time. But what were your feelings on him? Did you feel like it was time for him to leave, or are you still think Leeds are going in the right direction under him?
Yeah, to be honest, Tim, I think I'd actually like to get your point of view, both of your point of view on this as well. Because what we do is we deploy a very, very interesting system. It's basically a traditional Red Bull system, which is what Ralph Hasenhüttl used to do as well before he obviously got the sack at Southampton. And it's all about not having possession. It's about kicking the ball up and recovering the ball in the attacking third. So those pressing units go, they win the ball, and then it's all about the effectiveness in front of goal. I don't know if you can have that lesser control on the ball in the Premier League. I think that there are too many good teams in this division to really, really hurt you. So, when it comes to stability and sustainability for the long term, I think there's problems, and I'm not convinced yet because I just don't think you can get rid of the ball that much in the Premier League. You need to have some element of control and foot on the ball. If you don't, then I think you're gonna concede a fair few chances, and we have done so far. I don't know what you boys think on retention of the ball in the Premier League. I think it's a big thing.
I mean, yeah, definitely coming from talking about Conte ball right now. We don't seem to concentrate too much on ball retention. It seems to be okay for us, but then again, you could argue our better quality players is what's getting us results rather than specifically the tactics. But definitely Conte, the way he structured the team, we play with a back three, so it's a bit different potentially. We've got a bit more protection for the back line when we're out of possession. We do press in periods, but it does seem like a lot of the time we are soaking up pressure, but I guess we have the defensive structure to deal with that. And you got to question whether Leeds, when they do have to go through those periods where they have to regroup and they have to be tight and they try and not give up chances, do they have the defensive structure to do that? And at the moment, it doesn't seem so. Even when you're winning, again, as you say, you deserve the winners against Liverpool, but Meslier was arguably your best player in that game as well. He was brilliant. So it's not as if even in those games you're not conceding chances, isn't it?
Yeah, you bang on. I mean, we'll always, that's the thing, and you guys have referenced Bielsa. We naturally have to when we talk about Leeds because it's a huge part of our growth, really. But in the Bielsa era, if you want to put it that way, it was chaos, it was frantic, and we haven't transitioned that much away from it. We used to be very expansive, we used to play with a lot of width, and now we play narrow. The entire ethos of Leeds going forward is to play compact and to defend sort of narrow, but attack narrow as well. So you'll see a lack of width from Leeds. So I think with Spurs, and I think that invites a lot of pressure onto us. But I think with Spurs, if you expose Leeds out wide and you just simply, I know you just mentioned Conte doesn't like having the ball, but that's a huge advantage for Spurs because if you can just essentially bypass the press, get the ball into Harry Kane in that sort of central attacking midfield role, then I can only see one scenario for Leeds. But if you do keep hold of the ball and we're able to press players like maybe Emerson Royale, then I can see Leeds getting a lot of success next. I think like you just said, you mentioned the back three there, and I thought, yeah, that's a really good back three on the ball. But I do think there is potential if, as you've just said, he starts maybe Davinson Sanchez or Emerson Royale for Leeds to really gain success in the attacking third.
Yeah, I really do worry if we start Davinson Sanchez because you're just going to hound him down, and he's so nervy on the ball, really nervy on the ball, and that's not what you want against this Leeds side. But I want to talk to you about one player in specific, and that's Somerville. Suddenly he's just popped out of nowhere, 3 goals in a row now. Where's he come from, and how good is he?
Yeah, so he was from our sort of development team, and we've known about him for a while now, sort of 2 to 3 years, but he's not really made that step up from the under-21s. So we bought him initially from the Dutch league, Feyenoord, I believe it was, about 2 or 3 years ago, and we thought he'd make the step up a little bit sooner because he's almost too good for the 21s, but he hasn't really made that jump to the first team, which you guys all know from the 21s to the first team, the Premier League as well. It's a huge jump, and I think sometimes people underestimate that. So yeah, he's come in and he's just been really energetic on the ball. He's brave, which I like. He's direct, and that's what I sometimes get frustrated with a lot of our players. I mean, Jack Harrison, I heard you mentioning him earlier on. He's very lateral this season. He gets the ball, and the majority of the time he goes back or he goes across the field, whereas Somerville is direct. And I think, I don't know what you boys think, but I think if you direct against any sort of Premier League defender, it's a problem. It really is a huge problem. And I think there's an abundance of quality wingers in the Premier League, and Somerville has really come on with that. And we've got another player, an Italian international as well. He's only 18, called William Yonto, and he's been exceptional for us in the last sort of 2 to 3 games. So he's definitely one to watch. He's absolutely rapid, and yeah, very, very direct. So yeah, we've got a few there. I think you mentioned Sinisterra earlier on as well, and he's injured. So obviously Somerville's come in, but it's actually been really beneficial for Somerville because I don't think he'd have got the chance if Sinisterra had been fully fit, you know. But yeah, he's come in. He's doing very well. Very impressed so far.
Yeah, looking at from a Leeds, as a Leeds fan, looking at Tottenham, obviously we're in the top 4, but there's grumblings, a bit of discontent at the moment. Spurs are we've been 2-0 down in our last 5 domestic games. We've conceded the first goal in 8 games in a row at the moment, albeit we're in the final 16 of the Champions League and we're still in the top 4 of the Premier League. When you look at Spurs, do you think that's a team going places, or do you think we're going to get found out under Antonio Conte? How do you see things?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big fan of Spurs. I started to really watch them under the Pochettino era quite regularly because it mirrored what we were doing in a kind of strange way with Bielsa. So yeah, and I sort of love that possession-based, flowing, expansive football. I don't know. The Conte era, I feel, is jolting a little bit. It's not got started yet. I'm not fully convinced that it's almost an evolutionary way of playing football, how Conte plays. But it's effective and it can be effective. I just don't know whether or not the Premier League has moved on a little bit too much for Antonio Conte's style of football anymore. But yeah, I think it's been a bit of a stuttering start. Do I see it improving for Spurs? I do. I do question the top 4 though. I do think that maybe the Premier League is very, very good this year, and it's definitely an improvement on last year in my opinion. So I don't know if Spurs have made the necessary improvements to be able to galvanise themselves into that top 4, even though I'll get myself popular on this show. I do prefer Spurs to Arsenal, so I'm hoping that happens. Little wink there, but yeah, no, I think yeah, it's going to be interesting to see definitely. But it's been a bit of a stuttering start, which in a strange sort of way is quite surprising. But in another way, when I look at Conte's style of football, I think maybe it's not that surprising.
Interesting. So, having said all that, how do you see the game going, and what's your score prediction?
Well, after that, I'm going to say 4-1 Leeds. No, I'm joking. I think it's set myself up there. No, I think both of your predictions actually really surprised me, and maybe there's not a mass confidence from the Spurs side as well. I thought I was going to come on here and it was going to be maybe a 3-0 or 2-0 predictions from you boys, but yeah. So I think we're going into it a little bit cautiously, but there's obviously a lack of pressure on us. We've won our last 2 games, obviously beating Liverpool in the process as well. So a lack of pressure, definitely, which I think can be maybe it's quite dangerous for Spurs. But I ultimately think you've got too much quality. I don't know if Kulusevski's starting, who I am so impressed with. What a player! I don't know if Richarlison's about or Son. I don't think those two are ready. I'm not sure. You guys can help me on that one. That
Richarlison came on Wednesday night and he looked pretty good, and Kulusevski as well. But they both came on. Son's definitely out there.
Okay, and so I'm probably going to go with I'll go with a 2-2. That'd be a nice score. But I'll tell you what, you mentioned earlier on about Jed Spence as well. Boys, I covered the championship last season for my job. You simply have to start this guy more. What a player! What a player he is. So yeah, be interesting to see if he starts. But yeah, I'm going to go 2-2.
Would absolutely love him to start. But just before we round it off, let's get into Betmate. So obviously this video is sponsored by Betmate. We're both obviously Spurs v Leeds pot this weekend. It's an absolutely free pot. All you have to do to join it is use the promo code TOT-LEE for Tottenham against Leeds, and the winner will go home with £100 in their pocket this weekend. Obviously it's a really fun to play fantasy betting app where you get rewarded for defensive actions as well, not only just the attacking actions like you see in FPL, but you get rewards for interceptions and tackles. The Bentancurs and Højbjergs of these worlds have really been doing well in Betmate this year. But let's start off with your team, Connor. Go through your team with us and explain why you have picked these players.
Now you're testing my memory.
We can bring it up.
It's on screen for you if you want it.
God, boys, thank you so much for that. If you hadn't done that, I'd have been struggling. So I've gone with Ilan Melier in net. Obviously, we know with Betmate, it's not just on goals conceded and stuff like that. It's based on saves as well. And Ilan's making some, as you've both referenced, this season has made some mad saves, a ridiculous amount of saves as well. And I think there's going to be a fair few shots on goal. Eric Dyer, I've been impressed with Dyer this season. I really have.
You?
The Spurs, I think. Yeah,
you can have him if you want.
Yeah, well, I'll take it, to be honest. I've been reasonably impressed with him, to be honest. I have. So yeah, I do think he gets a lot. Maybe it's the England bias I've got in me, but I think Dyer's been all right. Perisic, big fan of Perisic. I think obviously there's definitely room for him in this game to get up and down that flank and potentially get an assist or a goal. Tyler Adams, I've got as captain, as you guys have just mentioned. It's not all about goals and assists in the Betmate app. It is about tackles and defensive actions, and this guy is he's superb for his season, been our best signing. Kulusevski in there as well, probably one of my favourite players inside the top four. Harry Kane, there is no explanation needed really. And we've gone with Brendan Aronson there as well, because I think if maybe someone in the central spaces like Højbjerg keeps hold of the ball for sustained periods of time, this guy's going to nick it off him and potentially could get a goal or an assist, who knows. But yeah, that's my team.
All right, interesting. I mean, Brendan Aronson is definitely a player that I've been impressed with since joining Leeds, but I would like to see him add a few more maybe goals and assists to his game. But he's a very impressive player, I'll tell you that. Yeah, I'm sure you would as well. I'm sure you would. But let's look at my team. We'll go to my team next. I've gone for Hugo Lloris in goal. I do think neither of these keepers will make a clean sheet, but I do think Hugo Lloris will come under fire at some stage in the game and hopefully make the saves to match that. I've gone for Ivan Perisic in the defence. He's been playing up front recently. I don't expect him to play up front in this game, but at left wing back with his set pieces ability, I expect he can easily grab an assist. I've gone for Cooper alongside him at the back because he's sometimes full of tackles and interceptions, and he can even be an aerial threat from set pieces as well. In the midfield, I've gone for Dejan Kulusevski as captain, and he came on with a bit of a point to prove, not in the Carabao Cup, but the game before that, and he looked really good when coming on. So hopefully if he starts from the off, we can really see his attacking talent shine through. I've gone alongside him, I've gone from Rodrigo as my vice captain. Obviously vice captains gets times 1.5 points, and Rodrigo will probably be starting up front for Leeds, and I expect him to get a goal, to be honest. So from the midfield, I think that's pretty smart move. And up front, I've gone for Richarlison and Somerville. So Somerville, obviously, we just spoke about him. He's a man on form. And Richarlison coming back from injury, I'm hoping he can hit maybe a Leeds defence that is gettable. So that is my team.
And for my team, I've gone with Melier in goal. I think he's going to make plenty of saves, and you get a point for each save. So I've got him in. Perisic with his set pieces and ability to get forward. That's why he's in my team. Eric Dyer, I believe, is going to be playing the wide centre-back role, and that allows him to get a bit further forward and maybe get some crosses in the box. So I've put him in for that reason. In midfield, I've got for Bentancur and Kulusevski, who I think Bentancur obviously makes lots of tackles, interceptions, and he's recently been getting goals recently. Kulusevski, hopefully he's in the starting 11 getting goals and assists. And then up front, Kane captain, no argument needed. And Somerville's in great form, and I think he can maybe win a penalty or maybe get a goal. So I've got him in my team. So that's my 7.
All right. So if you want to join us on Betmate and take all of us on this week and win that pot for £100 goes to the winner, and there's prizes as well for the runners-up spaces and everything like that. So come and take us on. It's a completely free pot. Link
We
will
Are
be
Tottenham TV fans versus the One Leeds fans.
Exactly. So come and take us all on.
Top.
It's got to be a Tottenham fan on top this weekend. But Connor, thank you.
Yeah, we're doing all right. We're doing okay, guys. I think our Leeds fans are doing all right in this section. So hopefully we can big ourselves up.
Connor's thrown down the gauntlet. You heard
He's thrown it down. So for all you Spurs fans out there, come and take all of us on, and let's beat the Leeds fans this weekend. Let's beat them on and off the pitch this weekend. But Connor, thank you so much for coming on today. Everyone, if you go and subscribe to One Leeds fan channel, some brilliant Leeds content. And I believe you made an appearance on the Overlap last week as well. So big up for that.
Yeah, stole the show, mate, as always. Thanks so much.
Thank you for coming on, mate, and hopefully we'll catch up later on in the season.
Good luck, lads. Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Bye. That was Connor from One Leeds fan channel. Brilliant stuff there.
Conte has been talking in his press conference.
Oh, the press conference done already?
Yes, it will be with us very shortly. Team news, Ryan Sessegnon has been ruled out for this weekend. He says Richarlison and Kulusevski have another training session before we decide about the starting 11. So it sounds like they may well be in contention. Talking about his meeting Paratici and Levy, he says, until now we haven't spoken. After the first half of the season, it's right to have a meeting and discuss positive and negative things and what we can improve on. For sure, we will speak and have a good evaluation about where we are in the first half of the season. I've seen a lot of positive things, but with injuries in so many games, we have struggled a lot. We have to improve in the future. Talking about his contract, he says, you know very well that my contract expires in June. Until that moment, the club has to make the best evaluation. I think that everything you need to deserve, and it will be important to see the rest of the season if we are happy with the improvement we are doing. I think that every situation is important to deserve. From my side, it's important to feel that I deserve a new contract and to sign a new contract with this club. I have to feel this. We'll take with the club and find the best. We'll talk with the club and find the best solution. He also says, but I think that when you start a path with the club, the dream is to stay here for many years and to try and build something important. I think it's very important the relationship you create with the players, the club, the environment around you. Don't forget the ambition. If you're used to winning, it's important to match all these situations. If you're lucky to match all these situations, it's easy for a coach, but in the modern football, it's very different. All right. So
interesting stuff there.
Yes. If any more quotes, we will be bringing them to you very shortly.
Yeah, so those are the quotes from Conte. And I've always thought that his plan is to be here for long term and do something special. It's just about if he's allowed to do that whilst being at this club, because no other manager has been kind of afforded that pleasure as of yet under this hierarchy. So we'll see what happens. I think Conte's intentions are clear, but it's just about if we're going to allow him to do the job to the maximum ability that he'll be able to do that to. But time will tell, but I think it's time to bring on some of the fans to talk about the game this weekend. And just before we do that, we got a super chat from Tinman007 saying, guys, biggest danger tomorrow is Somerville with his pace, especially against our weak defence. Also watch out for Gnonto, who normally comes on as a sub.
Yeah, he's been really good, actually.
Is he who was talking about the Italian?
Yeah, he came on against Liverpool and got a really good assist, and then against Bournemouth, he assisted the winner as well. He's been really good in the last few games.
All right, without further ado, let's bring on the main man. It's Brian Daigle.
What's up, people? How we doing?
Yes, Brian, how you doing, man?
I'm all right, mate. I'm still getting over this bloody jet lag. I think I'm getting over it now. I'm just sleeping at very weird times. But apart from that, All good, all good. How are you both?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Gearing up for the last game before the World Cup starts. How are you feeling coming into this game?
Well, first of all, I can't wait for this World Cup to come. Hallelujah! That football's over for a month, especially for us. I'm not going to pull any punches now. I'm actually petrified of this game. Absolutely petrified. If you gave me a draw right now, I'd snap your hand off.
Really?
That's how. Yep. Listen. It's we've seen. You look at these stats where it's 8 games in a row we haven't scored in the first half. 5 games in a row where we've gone 2-0 down. It's just, and I've got a really bad feeling that in that stadium tomorrow, if we get off to a bad start, it's not going to be it's going to be toxic. I've heard Conte say the fans need to do their bit. Well, I think the players need to do their bit to get the fans to do their bit, because like you did, like I came with you to Forest, and as I've said, these fans travel the length and breadth of this country and abroad to do everything for this team, and the team are reciprocated. So you go out and do your job, and then the fans that always do their job will take care of that. I am petrified.
Do you not think that with the state of the squad right now, with the fatigue that's creeping into the players, the likes of Højbjerg, Bentancur, Kane, the players that have been playing week in, week out with hardly any breaks? Do you not think that maybe the Spurs fans do have a bigger job on their hands this weekend than maybe previous weeks, where we should be kind of singing them past that finish line and really trying to help the team find a second win from somewhere?
You know what, Simeon? Ben, there's something in what you just said. There is, but it's come to the point where you just, like you said, that super second half Spurs that I was waiting to see, and it didn't show up. It's like when you say, these players are tired. It's like we're tired. We're tired. We've tried everything. We've done everything. You've been followed. You've been supported. People have paid great expense, great time to get there. Everything to get that. So it's like they may be mentally and fatigued physically. Well, I think we are mentally and emotionally, and they're the things we need as supporters. And that's why I think they're saying what you said, Ben. But it's like flogging a dead horse, isn't it? We just keep seeing the same thing, and it's like, going to the ground tomorrow, all the fans are going to be saying the same thing. Here we go. We're not going to turn up for 45 minutes, and then we'll turn up and we'll dominate. Why is this happening? Why is Emerson playing? Why is this one playing? Why isn't he playing? And that's the talk of the game. Not like Pete Potts when it was like, oh, we're going to win. How many by? I can't wait. This team are going to come flying. We just don't know what we're going to get.
But Brian, is that fair when we're top 4 in the league and through in the Champions League? Like, surely there's a lot to be excited about in terms of what we're fighting for, isn't there?
For me, again, it's papering over the cracks, and we should be excited with this position. You would thought the board would say, yes, I'm excited. Let's give the manager what he needs. Like Ben was just saying before about the comments you were reading about Conte. And I have to say, it's one of those answers from Conte where he speaks for 5 minutes but says very little, but it all is back me, back me, back me. And you're going into this game, and like you said, should we be excited that we're in the top 4? Of course we should. That's the target, but to aim higher. We are in the next round of the Champions League. But to be excited, you'd want to think, right, things are going to happen this January. And I don't. And I think a lot of other fans don't. You need to have something to be excited for. And this, at the moment, it's not exciting. Simply, the word isn't exciting that I'd use.
When you're looking at the game against Leeds this weekend, who would you like to see play the game this weekend?
I want to see Richarlison and Kulusevski start. And this time it will be Richarlison on the left. Listen, Kane needs a rest. Is he going to get one? No. And I can't remember who it was. Was it Argentina that was saying this round of games get them called off? This is the most ridiculous. The game should have finished Wednesday, in my opinion, because everyone knows now, for every country that's going, every single player knows if they're on that plane or not.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. And I'm sorry, if I was a professional footballer, for me, it's club over country every single time. But these players, do you really think they're going to put in those crunching tackles, if need be, when they know they're on that plane?
It's going to be a difficult
and I'm not just saying about Tottenham. I'm talking about every team in world football. I think it's ridiculous. The game should have been called off by the time the countries name their players that are going, because we've had this debate about our players being fully committed. Are they saving themselves for the World Cup? And there's a huge debate for it. But these were players that didn't know if they were getting on that plane or not, and they wanted to make sure they were available for selection. Well, they know they are now. Now it comes to the case of, right, I'm on that plane. If there's a 50-50 where I have to go in with full force, am I going to do it? And I don't think a lot of them will.
You pull your hamstring and you're out for 2 weeks, you're out of the World Cup. That's
exactly.
That's the reality at the moment, isn't it?
Exactly. There's, like you said, even something like that, that's not even going in 50-50. That's just running.
Yeah.
That's simply running. So these doubts are going to be, and I'm not, like I said, this is not me just saying about Tottenham. This is every team in world football that has a player that is on their plane. And I think this game shouldn't even be going ahead because it's stupid. So yeah, I want to see. Richarlison will give his go, but I don't think coming back from his injury, he'll give everything. I want to see Kulusevski. He's not going. Kulusevski has to start. Players that aren't going to the World Cup, like Basuma, Kulusevski. I think Lenglet's not been called up for France, has he?
No.
Whereas Davies has for Wales. Lenglet has to start. I still, like I said to you as well, I want Fraser Foster to start in goal. He had a great performance at Forest. It would have been a lot more if it weren't for him. And I've been saying it for a while. And that's what I'd like to see. But will I see it? I doubt it. Emerson Royale will be at right wing back again. Do you know what? All I want to see is, like I was saying to you in the car journey home, just Conte say to the fans, listen, this is the last game of this part of the season. We've been playing very, very defensive. Just go and do your thing. Just go and fucking express yourself. Leeds will do the same. We know that. If there's a team to do it against, it's probably this team. And just at least send the fans home with something happy. Say, do you know what? This is what I wanted to see. We gave it a go. Not this back, forth and forth, back, sideways. And give the fans something to be proud of. Just for this game. And then when you say, Simeon, about excitement and looking at the bigger picture and being excited, then you may have a case.
You know, Connor was saying in the call just before, he was saying that the teams that try and play through Leeds, like what you're suggesting, don't actually find too much success. And the big teams that have faced Leeds this season have come under really intense games. And maybe the teams that try and bypass that press and go a bit more route one find a bit more success against Leeds. So maybe that is more the way to go than trying to play more expansive football and playing out the back and trying to play through Leeds.
So do you know what? If Connor said that, and I came at the end of what Connor was saying, and he gave a very, very good analysis. And listen, this is his bread and butter. He knows Leeds better than any of us can ever say. If that's where teams are finding success, then what can I say? But I mean, if that's the way to find success, but have we been having success the last few games playing this way anyway? No. Let's just try and play some football. Why play to their? We should play to our strengths, and I can categorically state that defensive football is not our strong point. We are known for playing the football, being expressive, like we did at the end of last season. Why do we have to keep worrying? Why are we a team that go into games thinking how we can nullify their strengths rather than thinking how we can impose ours?
Yeah, it's an interesting
and that's
one.
Against me.
What's your score prediction, Brian?
Like I said to you in the car home, I'm not doing this anymore. I'll give my predictions. I'm not going in going, yeah, this is the best time. I'm not doing this. I'm taking accountability for myself. I'm not going, yeah, now's the best time to play them. We're the better squad. We're going to say we're winning every single game. I came on this saying I'll bite your hand off for a draw. 1-1, 2-2.
All right.
And that's me being positive.
Very positive, Brian. You're just as positive as me this week.
Damn right, mate. Listen, we like I said, we have we come on these streams and I go on these shows and I can't keep saying, yeah, we're going to win, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, just to see that it maybe my expectations are higher, or I put my expectations higher than I should be, and I need to have a dose of reality, and that's what I'm doing.
All right, Brian, always good to chat to you, and we'll see you on the watch along tomorrow.
You will do. Very much looking forward to it, and me and Simeon on Sunday, so I'm very much looking forward to that. Have a great weekend, everyone. Enjoy whatever you're doing, and as always, Levy out.
Big up, Brian.
See you, Brian.
Speak to you soon. Let's keep going with the guests. We have got Ashmatic in the building. Well, I say in the building, online, in the online building. How you doing, Ashmatic?
What's good, my people? What are you saying to me, man? What's good?
Last time I saw you, last time I chatted to you, we were dancing around this studio after a last-minute winner.
Beers over.
Knocking beers all over the studio to get us through into the next round. It's all on camera, my friend. But how are you feeling since then, and how are you feeling for this game this weekend?
Obviously, it's felt like a millennia ago, because since then, things haven't been going too positively. We had the Liverpool result, and then obviously we've had the Forest result as well. So, yeah, it's not been too good, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, it's been very difficult, hasn't it? You know, we've 5 games in a row domestically. We've gone 2-0 down now. 8 games in a row overall. We've conceded the first goal. Would it just be a relief if we get the first goal tomorrow more than anything, or like how much of an impact will that have?
Yeah, it's interesting that you brought up about the Mourinho point, saying how we used to go in front and then we used to struggle to hang on to Leeds. And now Conte is the opposite. We kind of, we do the opposite. So, in a sense, it's very similar, because in the Mourinho era, we did have a lot of games as well. We had back-to-back games because the lockdown happened. And we didn't really suffer from this fatigue as much, I felt. And obviously, that's been a big thing for Spurs. We're trying to manage our legs, we're trying to manage our energy, manage our time, and we're playing quite a lot of games again. So obviously we had that early pre-season where Conte ran the players down into the ground, and fitness was a massive thing, and even at the start of his tenure, that was the thing that he wanted to improve, was the amount of distance we covered. And now we're coming against a Leeds side that covers a lot of ground similar to what we do. And they do remind me of an old school Poch type of side with the pressing and the running that they do. For me, I'm not trying to criticize Conte, no way. I would never. It's blasphemous. First of all, I won't do it. But it's just sometimes I feel like if we rotated the squad just a little piece more, with players that aren't playing too well, positions that we had that were problem positions, I felt like we could have done a bit better. I know we have a lack of options sometimes, but sometimes you just have to play what you have. So, for example, Forest, I feel like we could have gone to a 3-4-3. I think we could have gone to a 3-4-3.
Or play Hill, play...
Exactly. And I feel like with the wing-back situation with Spence, and everyone's been talking about it, but because Doherty and Emerson wasn't performing, it's not like if they were performing and then you had Jed Spence, you'd understand the comments where you say, he's not quite ready, and, it's a big jump up from Championship to Premier League. But I feel like those two weren't performing, so he had to get his chance a bit sooner rather than later. So I would have preferred if Jed had a more earlier introduction into his season. And also, when the criticisms I was hearing was he hasn't got no chemistry with Kulusevski. Like, he looks tactically out of place. What do you expect? He hasn't played with any of these players for more than 8 to 10 minutes. So of course you're going to be you're not going to be tactically ready. So if that's your one weakness, wouldn't you get that player playing a bit more regularly to understand how the team play, and then that side of his game can improve? You saw the time when he first came on the pitch, he just ran up the field. There's another time, and he got Mangala booked. He got Mangala booked because he had the ball deep on the edge of our box. He ran. He did his hands like this. Look, I've got no options. Because Kulu's meant to be there, you know. Kulu's meant to be busting his gut. He's like this. No ball inside, no ball outside. What does he do?
And he won a free kick. He won the free kick.
He beats 3 players. So he beats 3 players. He gets Mangala the yellow card. So when you've got a player like Emerson won't do that. Emerson passes backwards. When you've got players that are forcing the issue, and it's just one player, that's what we need. Sometimes when you've got a midfield, when you've got a team and you can't break them down or it's going against you, sometimes you just need a spark from one player to kind of get you out of that rut. Sometimes you look for players like Kane, you look for like Kulozeskis to get you out of trouble, that magic. That's what Spurs have been lacking. Some player, like, you looked for like a number 10, like your number 10, there's the unlocking. They do the pass that, you know, the playmaker pass that kind of unlocks the defenses. If you can't break down the 2 lines of defense through your passing, sometimes you need to have the dribbler. And he had that ability, and we had that. We weren't playing him. So, in my opinion, he reminds me a bit of Walker, Kyle Walker. When Pochettino first came to Tottenham, Walker had so many mistakes in him, so many mistakes in him. But Poch put his arm around him, and before you know it, look at him now. He's an England regular, one of Man City's best reliable defenders, and at the time, that was one of our best teams. Like, I will go to say and argue, Pochettino Spurs in 2017, 2018 season, or 2016, 2017 season, is better than the team that we have now. How can we go backwards? We had better.
You look at our right back situation, and you got a player who's 32 at Newcastle playing right back who we had a few years ago, and we'd kill to have him now, and that's why we're going backwards. You know what I mean? Our recruitment. A lot of the time, Moussa Dembele, you know, we haven't replaced him well. We've bought like Ndombele and all these players, and it hasn't worked out.
We haven't even bloody replaced Serge Aurier, and Serge Aurier got hounded out of this club, and we cancelled his contract. Yeah, never mind the others.
It's embarrassing. So it's been a glaring problem for a while now. Since Poch is gone, it's been a problem, and we've recruited badly. And you know, in the summer, we all knew the wing-back situation was the problem because we weren't going to get a 10. So we thought, surely, if our attacks are going to come through the flanks and the wide areas, which we need to do against Leeds because Leeds are playing so narrow, surely we were going to copy what Liverpool did because they were very close to us, and we were going to go out in the summer and buy those wing-backs because that was our weakness. And, like, obviously, I know, like, this is controversial. People aren't fans of Adama Traore, and I get it, like, he can't cross the ball, he can't beat the ball, but with Adama Traore there was other wing-backs that we were looking at, but we just didn't go for a wing-back. So forget even I said Adama Traore. The fact that we didn't target a wing-back, that was the biggest issue, I thought, with the window that we had at summer. And, like, we went full pelt at the beginning, and then we kind of just sat back on our laurels and said, yeah, this is great. Like, yeah, we've done that business early. We're going to have there's going to be a congestion of fixtures because the World Cup's coming up, and that we were smart for doing all of our business earlier. But we didn't target the areas that needed fixing and the priorities, which were centre-back, wing-back, and then this is debatable, a striker, because now it looks like with Kane, we don't want to drop Kane. So now we've literally ran Kane into the ground. Like, we've literally put injuries on players because we haven't had an adequate substitute to replace players. And I think every time Tottenham have gone 2-0 down or 1-0 down, it's always individual errors. I never feel like it's... Okay, to be fair, the team hasn't always been performing well in the first half. We've been a bit sluggish, a bit slow. But I feel like individually, we'll make an error and it will lead to a goal. And I know that's what football's about. It's about the fine margins. But I just feel like if we replace a quality player, if we get a quality player in, we're going to have less mistakes. Because when you see the top sides, you hardly see players, like I'm talking about top 4 sides across Europe, you hardly see individual errors resulting to goals and teams losing. And I feel like Spurs' biggest problem has been that when it comes to individual errors, players get impressed. We just look a mess. Do you know what I mean? And Leeds, they're going to press us. They're going to come at us. They're going to be hungry. So I honestly think...
Will that play into our hands? Go on. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, it will. I think this is the best team for Tottenham to come and bounce back up. It'll definitely play in our hands. Like, Tottenham play well. When the team sits back, we don't deal with it well. But when we've got Bentancur, we've got Højbjerg in the middle, and we do the 3-4-3, and we just counter, well, it's so much better. And with Kulu being up top, Kulu's going to be starting, I feel. I know you just said, that he's going to wait and see. He's definitely going to start, man. Come on. Mm-hmm. Kulu and Rich on the left, and Kane up top. Kane's going to be playing further forward. What I don't like is sometimes when we press man to man, because I've seen when we press man to man, and the players just get tired, and our midfield, what happens with our midfield 2 or midfield 3, we shift to one side, and a lot of the players get out of position, and that's how they beat our press when we press either centrally or we press a little bit high up. And sometimes I see Kane pressing the keeper, or before it was Son as well. And to me, it doesn't make sense to a striker pressing the keeper, because that always leaves one man spare, and they can beat the press because they have the outball, if that makes sense. So, like, I would prefer, and it sounds bad, but I prefer if we don't press top up the pitch and we don't press too high in the mid, because sometimes when we lose the ball, there's so many gaps all over the pitch. And when I notice the 2 central midfielders, what they do is sometimes our wing backs are so high up that they cover their space, and that creates hole in the middle. And then what like a team like Leeds will do, they'll just do the long ball through the middle. Like it happened to us against Bournemouth. Bournemouth did the long ball through the middle. It happened against us when we played Forest last Wednesday just gone. Our wing backs are high up. Højbjerg's gone to cover Sessegnon. Basuma's lost the ball because he's dribbled too much, and then bam! Do you know what I mean? They've hit us, and it happened time and time again. We wasn't addressing it. We were going too high up, pressing man for man, and our midfield's getting dragged all over the place, and gaps are just appearing. So for me, I would prefer I know it sounds negative, especially at home. You don't really want to be negative at home, but because Conte keeps saying the players are fatigued, they're tired. All right, let's play that narrative then. Let's sit back a little bit. Let's do what we were doing before. Let's do what was working. Let's do the 3-4-3, and let's literally hit them in those wide areas. Kulu's really good at it, by the way. Kulu loves to drive wide and cut, and allows Emerson or Doherty to come inside a lot, and he kind of draws their players out of position, and they're going to want to stay central. The defenders are not going to know, well, shall I stay in the middle? Shall I go wide? Shall I follow him? They're going to be a little bit indecisive. And I feel like between Emerson and Kulu, or Kulu and Doherty, we will create a lot of chances, especially on that right-hand side. With Sessegnon being out, actually, I think Doherty might go on the left. Possibly. Maybe
really?
Perry will. I just thought Perisic will play.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think we'll win. I think it'll be a close game, and 2-1.
2-1. Just about.
2-1. I'm scared of Somerville. That kid, yeah. Oh my lord. Jeez. Hey, the pace is crazy. When I was watching him, the way he runs at players, the way he runs off the ball, it's just like boom, boom, boom. Before, like yeah, I was nervous of Dallas and that, like the Cowboy. But yeah, man, it's Somerville, man. He's bringing summertime in the winter, and I don't want him to bring it to White Hart Lane this weekend. And it's my birthday tomorrow. That's why I'm scared to even I'm gonna be watching the game with one eye open. If we lose, it's gonna ruin my house.
Oh, so basically you just said it's set in stone. We're gonna win for your birthday. We've got that birthday luck coming for us tomorrow.
My birthday, crazy. Don't worry, the Magnums are there. Don't worry, I've got some for you guys.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. Magnum for 3 points. 3 points and your birthday. I think we're going to have to do about 6 magnums.
Jeez, boy. Yeah, I might hold you to that, you know.
But Ashmatic, thank you so
much.
Say again?
Bring it all.
Malibu's as well, 100%. We have to bring Sai involved, get Sai involved. But Ashmatic, thank you so much for coming on. And if we don't speak to you tomorrow, happy birthday, my friend.
Love people, man. Big up Spurs, big up Spurs family, man. You guys keep doing what you're doing, man. And yes, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you
big
Spurs.
Up Ashmatic.
Big up and a massive happy birthday to Ashmatic for tomorrow. But let's keep going on with our guests. And it's it's KPV.
Oh, not you two jabronis again.
Who are you expecting, Kyle?
It's like we're calling you, Carl. Carl, do you want to run the interview today?
No, you guys do, because it's your channel, man. Like, if you smell what Conte is cooking.
And what is he cooking this weekend, Carl? What is he cooking?
He's cooking the 3 points, man. And happy birthday to Ashmatic. Like, he's going to have 7 magnums and 7 3 points tomorrow, man.
7 3 points. I will take that.
Yeah,
We've got 7 3 points tomorrow. It'll be nice to see sitting in top of the league going into the World Cup.
Well, yeah, I hope so, man. Like, but that's what Conte's cooking, and everything Asthmatic said is spot on. Like, Richarlison can't play on the right, he can play on the left, and look, he can play anywhere the front three, but not on the right, man. Got Kulu, Kane, and Richarlison, and like, Leeds must be scared of Richarlison. He scored last season, if I'm right, but this is like, with Ronaldo confirmed he'll be fit for South Korea. The surgery went well, so dig up. And tomorrow, like, I'm going to go different. I'm probably going to agree with Ben on this one, but I'm going 2-2.
2-2? Why don't you think we're going to win tomorrow?
Well, as Asthmatic said, he's scared of Somerville and I'm scared of him. Like, he scored a winner in Anfield, but you know what happened last season? We were 1-0 down in this game. We ended up winning 2-1. Goals from Højbjerg and Wedgie, but
And that was
not here.
Conte's first Premier League game, wasn't it?
No, it was Everton, actually.
Second.
Yeah, home game. That was his first
Conte's
home game,
first Premier League win.
Yeah, like...
Is that right?
The goal
First home game,
yeah.
Not there. Yeah, Reggie's not there. He's on loan, but he was the one that scored the winner. Like, Dyer took the free kick, hit the crossbar, and Reggie just scored a rebound. They were crying for offside. Give me a break. 2-1 win. Like, another 2-1 win. Our record against Leeds is actually pretty good. I think we won, what, 3 times in a row, but they beat us to end our top 4 hopes in the pandemic year. But last year, we played them twice in 2021. Even though we lost, we won 3-0. We won 3-0 at home and lost 3-1 away. Son scored home and away, but if we'd won that game, we would have finished top 4, but they somehow beat us to end it. But tomorrow, Leeds and...
What's the score going to be, Kyle?
It doesn't matter what you think. But I would say 3-1. Like 3-1. And goal scorer.
It doesn't matter what you think.
Not you jabroni. Like the Watford. Just bring it. And yeah, so 3-1. Goals from Harry Clase, Kulu, and hopefully Højbjerg again. On fire, but Bentancur, you never know what can happen. But Somerville score for Leeds. But yeah, 3-1, and we'll be in the top 4 heading into the World Cup. But
and that's
all
the
I'm
bottom line.
Because KPV said so.
And I get to see Brian Degwood not on the late show because we didn't have it last Friday. But tonight, tune in, everybody, and I will speak to you all on see you tomorrow after the game.
Right.
And as always, Levy out, Daigle in.
All right.
Daigle is chairman.
Daigle is
Yeah.
chairman.
Big up, KPV. We'll speak to you next time. Got a super chat here from Brian Dagon. He says, if we score first, get ready for a rendition of Muzzletov and Simantov in the studio. Very much looking forward to that. Do we have anyone else? No. All right, so we'll have to end it there. Predicted lineup is coming your way a bit later, but thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs. Spurs.